My name is Jaden Whitmarsh. I was born and raised in San Diego, California, and I am doing my last year of eligibility playing beach volleyball at UCLA.
I'm Devon Newberry. I am also a beach volleyball player at UCLA.
The first question for you, Devon,
Yeah.
is what advice would you give to someone looking to get recruited?
Getting recruited is weirdly like the number one question I get asked from like parents and from young athletes is like, how do I get in the position you're in right now? Like I need to know what to do.
Yeah.
And obviously like times have changed a ton since we were getting recruited. There's so many different rules. Like I was committed as a sophomore. That's
Yeah.
like not allowed anymore. So it's very different, but there are still like some general themes that like completely are the exact same. And like we also have experience like with our college coaches of seeing them actively recruit people
Yeah.
and what they look for and what they don't. So I'd say like the general stuff is like film, like get so much film of yourself, like more than you can imagine, because you can always cut and edit the parts where you don't make your cut shot or you don't get the play you wanted to make, but you have all the information there.
Right.
And then I would also say it's really important to talk to people. So like for me, if there was a 13-year-old who was texting me or in my messages saying like, how do I do this? And it's like a beach volleyball player, like I'm going to be more than willing to give you the exact steps and just learning about the process. You never know about the connections you're going to make.
Yeah.
But the most important part for me, and I think for a lot of people, is your attitude. I could not tell you how many times I have seen and heard coaches be like, hey, what do you think of this girl? We're thinking about recruiting her. And a girl would be like, no, she was really rude to me like 2 years ago. And then that's it, you're done. And I just think that actually I have a story about that is when I was in high school and I was already committed to UCLA, my, at the time, beach coach went up to me and she was like, Devon, there's this video circulating of you.
Oh, no.
It's going viral. Like everyone's looking at this video and you're in the background of this girl's highlight reel with the worst attitude, saying the worst things. And I'm like, what? The only time I have ever been rude to my partner was my sister. I am so sorry about that. And I think about that a lot. And I'm so sorry,
Poor
Emily.
Emily.
But that is the only time. So there is not one other time you've seen me ever like that. So I was like, what's going on? I'm freaking out. She's like, the college coaches are talking about it. They don't want you anymore. I was like, oh my God, my life's over.
Yeah.
Come to find like a week later, like first of all, I'm doing Google searches like no tomorrow. There's nothing that comes up with my name, which is like so depressing also.
Side note.
Like side note, that is so rude. There was not one video or picture of me up on Google.
Oh my God.
But so it wasn't me. So she comes back and she's like, oh, just so you know, like it wasn't you in the video. But that girl who the video ended up being of did not get recruited from all of those college coaches who saw it, which I just think is like a huge testament to that had nothing to do with her skill. She could have been the best beach volleyball player ever, but she's sitting in the back pouting about something else and she's X'd off the lists.
That's so true. Yeah, you never know who's watching. I think, like you said, attitude is one of the most important things for getting recruited.
Yeah.
I had this partner, beach partner. We'll call her Rebecca. Rebecca was one of the best beach volleyball athletes at the time. In high school, I think she was like All-American, top for her class.
Everyone knew this girl.
Yes. So we had been playing some tournaments together. It was going pretty well. And then we got partnered up for a USA tournament by our coach. And Rebecca was having a really hard day. And her attitude was really, really bad. And she was just making me feel like a terrible volleyball player and was just making me feel so small.
Yeah.
And like, I really actually started to believe it.
Yeah.
And I called my mom and I was like, Mom, like I was sobbing. I was like, Mom, I cannot do this anymore. Like, I can't, she's making me not love volleyball. And this was very visible. Like, people on the beach knew about this. People knew about her bad attitude, and she became that girl. And then she went to a different school to play college beach volleyball, and I think she was only there for a year because of the way that she was affecting her team, her team culture. So yeah, you know, you want to be known as the girl that's a great teammate.
Absolutely.
With a great attitude, positive.
Absolutely.
And you want to bring a light to the team. You don't want to bring like a darkness or hatred or anything
Yeah,
like that.
absolutely. I think that's like as long as you can go through like your recruitment process and be like as positive and happy as a partner and a player as possible, you're going to go to the school you want to go to. It's all going to work out the way it's supposed to. But if you could just continue to be a good person
Yeah,
throughout the whole process,
that's
I mean,
it.
that's
That's
really
really
it.
it. Yeah.
Okay, the next question was for you, social life versus sport. How do you balance it?
Oh, that's such a good
It's a really good
question.
one.
I feel like I really didn't understand this
Yeah.
until like halfway through college.
Yeah, I mean, how could you?
But in high school, it was just, it was pretty hard balancing the training schedule of practicing like
Yeah.
almost every single day after school to then having tournaments on the weekends, Saturday, Sunday,
Yeah.
sometimes both days, while also trying to have a social life with my friends from back home. And not to say that I didn't, I spent plenty of time with my high school
Yeah.
friends and had a great experience with them, but it was hard, like missing those birthday parties, like
Yeah.
that thing. But at the same time, like just understanding it, you just have to sacrifice things
Yeah.
in order to get to where you want to be.
Yeah.
Like I knew that I wanted to go to college and be the best I could, um, and train for like that point in my life. And looking back, like I'm not gonna remember the
No.
small little birthday
Mm-mm.
parties. Like
Never.
I'll always have my friends from high school, like they're always going to be a big part of my life and I love them to death. But I also got to have this college experience and to live out my
Totally.
dream of being a collegiate beach volleyball player. So,
How did you find the balance of like your friends who were like not in the same like sports world? Were you able to like almost like explain to them or like how did they take it when it's like you're going to these beach tournaments hours away?
yeah, that was one of the hardest things. I mean, in my high school group at
Yeah.
the time, there were only probably two of us that were going to play sports in college.
Yeah.
So it was different, like just priorities wise, like they had other things going on and I had other things going on. But at the same time, like they knew how much it meant to me
Yeah.
to be where I wanted to be,
Yeah.
and they were super supportive. So
Yeah.
like I had really, really great friends, and I still have really great friends from high school, which I'm lucky to say. But
Yeah.
yeah, you just kind of have to surround yourself with people who support you.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's a big thing.
Yeah.
Okay, next question is how hard should I be working to get to the D1 level?
Oof.
That's a tough question.
Yes, because I don't think I would answer the same as every other athlete would.
It's really true.
It is so subjective. And this is where you really learn that like life is not fair. Absolutely not fair. I think that in high school and when you're younger and middle school and stuff, like there are people who just have like this like natural talent at whatever sport they play.
Like you.
Some
Sorry.
sometimes. But especially like in when you're younger, like
Yeah.
I got away with a lot because like when I was younger, I had like a natural like gift towards volleyball that
Yeah.
like there were people on my team who were working 20 times harder. But for some reason in high school, at first it didn't click for me. So I wasn't working as hard in high school. But then you get to college and everyone is you. So you have to
Right.
work 20 times harder. It all comes back around. But I think you have to know like your pace and you have to know who you are and like where you want to be. So like write out your goals, write out your dreams
Yeah.
and figure out like where do you line up to the people who are doing that right now and what steps do you have to take to get there.
It's so good.
It's going to be completely different for every person. For me, getting to where I wanted to be my freshman year of college and getting to UCLA was going to be a completely different path than some other people.
Yeah.
But it always equals out. And so in college, I worked my butt off. Just to clarify, in college, I did end up working really hard and I still do. And I'm really tired and I'm 23 and I play college still.
Verified.
So verified. But it's a really personal thing. Like it's tough. It's a really hard balance. It's also really hard mentally to see people do better than you when
Yeah.
you are working harder.
Yeah.
But it always comes around and everything's going to be okay. It's going to work out the way it's supposed to.
Yeah. And try not to compare yourself. Like,
No. Mm-hmm.
that's one of the hardest things about
Yeah.
being a college athlete, and especially in a sport where it's so competitive and you're surrounded by such great athletes.
Yeah.
Like you're looking around and you're like, why am I not like her? Like I feel like I'm doing
Yeah.
all the same things,
Yeah.
but we're all different. Like it's really,
Someone else's success does not like deter from yours. And I feel
oh
like, yeah,
gosh,
take a second, drop it.
I love this.
That was like a big life lesson for me going out of like high school to college, is that
Yeah,
like when other people are succeeding, that doesn't mean that like because I didn't do that, I'm not still doing good at other things.
so true.
But that actually leads us into the question that was for you, is what should somebody's workouts look like in high school and
Oh,
before
yeah.
college?
Yeah, that again, I mean, it depends on your situation where you're living,
Yeah.
but I guess one of the biggest things for practicing and training is surrounding yourself with people who have either similar goals as
Yeah.
you or people who are better than you, honestly,
Yeah.
because they will only make you better. I played at Wave Volleyball Club. Shout out Wave.
Yep.
Love those people.
Love them.
But yeah, the coaches there, and the teammates that I had there, like pushed me to the next level, and made me a better player, which is so important just to like look around and like see so many great athletes that are also going on to great
Totally.
colleges, because I saw again like what I needed to do, personally.
Yeah.
So that is really important. And then also lifting in high school is really important too.
It's becoming huge. I never did it.
Well, I thought I was doing it, which is so funny.
Yeah,
But I
yeah, same.
clearly wasn't.
Same.
I was working out, but I don't feel like I was putting in the effort.
No,
Like
like college.
exactly. Like college and also like in practice. Like I thought practice was so important, which it so is, but also how important it is to get into the weight room and to lift weights and move your body. And yeah, it was a huge wake up call getting
Yeah.
to college my freshman year and being like, okay, so this is what
it looks
lifting
like.
is. Oh, yeah. So that would be my advice.
Yeah.
The next question is, what are some tips to stay motivated?
Motivation.
Yeah.
Motivation is so interesting because if I were to tell someone who is like younger about motivation, I would, one, hope I take my own advice on this, but I would say like motivation is one thing, but also consistency is another. So like staying consistent, you're not gonna have motivation every day, and that's just point blank. But like if you stay consistent, that's how like you reach your goals and your dreams, which is
Yeah.
something I'm still very much working for. But for me, and like this is a big thing I learned at UCLA, is motivation is like finding your why. That's the best way to stay motivated, is
love that.
understanding like why do you do the things you do. When I'm going to practice after I just stayed up all night doing homework and I'm exhausted and I just want to sleep, like why am I going to do this?
Yeah.
And it changes every day. It changes every year. It changes every month of like why I'm doing it. One day it could be because I'm about to enter national championships and I really want to win this for my seniors.
Yeah.
Another day is because I have huge dreams and aspirations in the sport and I want to push myself every day.
Yeah.
Some days is just because I can say I did it. And it just changes. So that's like my overall for motivation. But like one of my favorite like little tips and tricks would be find like any footage of yourself or somebody else that you admire playing. Like I always watch my old Florida State game because it just is the best match where you can see like my hard work just fully coming out.
Yeah.
But I also watch Misty May and Carrie Walsh's Olympic games all the time because I can feel their joy coming off of the court. And I just want to like, I want to be that. So it's
Right.
like when I'm watching it, I'm so fired up for the next day. But another thing too, like make a vision board. It's like super cliche. And like I think it's sometimes it's gross when I say it, but like you should do it because there's nothing more motivating than seeing exactly what you want in life every day when you wake up.